There are moments in life that arrive quietly, without warning, and change everything in the simplest way. No thunder, no grand event, just a small decision made at the right time. This is one of those stories. One ordinary afternoon, while walking through a narrow alley near my neighborhood, I noticed something unusual. At first it was only movement out of the corner of my eye. Two small dogs, Japanese Spitz mixes, were wandering slowly between the old walls of the alley. Their white fur should have been soft and bright, but instead it was almost completely gone. Their skin was rough, patchy, and irritated. They looked tired, hungry, and confused, as if they had been lost for a long time. It was clear that they didn't belong there. Someone had abandoned them. They moved together, never separating, as if they understood that the only family they had left was each other. When I approached, they didn't run away. Instead, they looked at me with cautious eyes, hopeful, but unsure whether to trust again. That was the moment I knew I couldn't just walk past. I knelt down slowly, speaking in a gentle voice. The two dogs came closer, sniffing my hands. Their bodies were thin, their ribs visible, and their paws dirty from days of wandering. I could tell they hadn't eaten properly in a long time. Their fur loss suggested serious skin problems, and their tired expressions told a story of hardship. I decided to take them with me. Getting them into the car wasn't difficult. They were too weak to resist, and perhaps deep down they understood that this was the first kindness they had experienced in a long while. I placed them carefully on a blanket in the back seat, and we drove straight to the nearest veterinary clinic. At the clinic, the doctors examined them thoroughly. The first step was to shave off the remaining damaged fur so their skin could be treated properly. The dogs were patient and calm, as if they sensed they were finally safe. The veterinarians cleaned them, gave them medicated baths, and performed full health checks. Blood tests, physical examinations, and even X-rays were done to understand their condition completely. One of the dogs, the smaller male, had a fractured bone in his back leg. It wasn't a fresh injury, but it needed careful attention. The doctors assured me that with proper care, rest, and nutrition, he would recover well. Apart from that, both dogs were surprisingly stable. They were malnourished and exhausted, but they were fighters. There were no life-threatening diseases, no severe infections, just two small lives that had been neglected for too long. Hearing that they could recover filled me with relief. After several hours at the clinic, I made a decision that felt completely natural. I would adopt both of them. They had already lost so much. I couldn't separate them now. I brought them home that evening. The first night was quiet. They were shy and unsure of their new surroundings. I prepared soft beds, clean water, and gentle food recommended by the veterinarian. They ate slowly at first, as if they were afraid the food might disappear. Then, realizing it was really for them, they finished everything. I gave them simple names, Leo and Lily, names that sounded gentle and easy, just like them. The next days became a routine of care and patience. Every morning, I cleaned their skin, applied the prescribed medicines, and made sure they were comfortable. The little male dog, Leo, needed extra attention because of his injured leg. He walked slowly, limping slightly, but he never complained. His eyes always remained calm and trusting. Lily, the female, was braver. She adapted faster, exploring the house with curiosity, wagging her tail whenever I entered the room. She seemed to understand that this place was different from the cold alley they had come from. Feeding them became one of the happiest parts of my day. At first they were cautious, but soon their appetites returned. Their bodies slowly began to change. Week by week, they grew stronger. Their skin improved, and tiny soft hairs started to grow back where once there had been only rough patches. Every small improvement felt like a victory. In the evenings, I would sit on the floor with them, talking softly while they rested beside me. They didn't ask for much, just safety, food, and a little affection. And I was happy to give all of it. After 2 weeks, the difference was incredible. Leo's leg had begun to heal well. With gentle exercise and proper treatment, he was walking more confidently each day. Lily's coat was becoming thicker and cleaner. Their eyes, once dull and tired, now shone with life. They were no longer the sad, abandoned dogs I had found in that alley. They were becoming family. Neighbors who saw them could hardly believe they were the same dogs. Children passing by smiled at them. Friends who visited commented on how friendly and calm they were. It was as if Leo and Lily had always belonged here. And in a way, they had. Caring for them taught me something important. Rescue is not only about saving an animal. It is also about learning patience, responsibility, and compassion. These two small dogs changed the rhythm of my everyday life. They reminded me to slow down, to notice the small joys, and to appreciate loyalty in its purest form. There were playful moments too. Once they regained strength, they began chasing each other around the living room, rolling on the floor like puppies, even though they were already grown. Their happiness was simple and contagious. Sometimes I would think back to the day I found them lost, hungry, and forgotten. It felt like another lifetime. Now, every morning, they wake up safely in a warm home. They eat well, sleep peacefully, and spend their days without fear. Leo still walks with a slight reminder of his old injury, but it no longer slows him down. Lily greets each day with bright energy, as if grateful for every moment. They don't know the word rescue. They only know that they are loved. And that is enough. Looking at them today, healthy and happy, I realize that helping them was never a burden. It was a privilege. Two small lives were given a second chance, and in return, they filled my home with warmth and quiet joy. Some people believe that changing the world requires big actions. But sometimes, it begins in a small alley, with two abandoned dogs and one simple decision not to walk away. Leo and Lily were once lost and alone. Now they have a home, a family, and a future. And I have two loyal friends who remind me every day that kindness, no matter how small, always matters. This is not just a story about rescuing animals. It is a story about choosing compassion over indifference, and hope over hesitation. Because when we open our hearts, even the smallest act can create the biggest change. Two little dogs taught me that. And I will be grateful to them for the rest of my life.